Hello and thank you for joining me. Hope you're all well. My name is Alan and today's video is a little bit different to what I normally do. It's two subjects in one video, and that is emergency food, keep it simple stupid, and how to make a camo rucksack cover. Stay with me. So the emergency food, we all hear the sayings, eat what you store what you eat, etc, etc. But I really want to sort of bring your mind into perhaps a grid down scenario. You have got no refrigeration, you've got your emergency method of actually cooking or preparing food, and what I'm trying to do is get you to think about making sure that you've got carbs, protein and fruit, something that's going to give you the extra vitamins that you're going to need when you haven't got access to fresh food. They are going to all be very simple things. Some of them can be eaten cold, and how we're going to put them together to create perhaps a breakfast, a lunch and a main meal for dinner. Let's have a look. So breakfast wise, you've got your things, your sausages and baked beans all day breakfast. I'm not really touching on that. I'm touching on more of a cereal based breakfast. So we've got porridge oats, slow release carbohydrates, very good for you. You can use water if you haven't got milk. It's not as nice, but it's doable. So you can add just hot water to that, stir it up, let it settle, and you're going to have something nice to eat. What you can do is you can add some powdered milk, and that will give it a little bit more flavour if you like, and improve the texture and the taste. You can of course add salt or sugar if you've got a sweet tooth. You could perhaps add a portion of jam to it, which for you in the States I believe you call it jelly. These are individual sachets that I've got, individual cartons, but you would probably have a jar, and you could add a dollop of that to it. The reason I've got the sachets, it's because if I'm building up homemade ration packs for camping or whatever, or for go bags and that, I just find it easier to add the sachets. So you can add some jam to your porridge. If you've got a bag of sultanas or something like that, add that to it. So you've got that. The next thing you've got is, what are they calling this? Muesli, that's it, sorry. Muesli, again, you can just add hot water to it. It is better with milk, so I would suggest that and some powdered milk. But that gives you a couple of options for breakfast. And the idea is that if you have the breakfast, you're not going to feel as hungry, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be getting the calorific intake that you require. And I know people are going to say, well, okay, we're going to base it on 2,000 calories per adult. It's going to be 2,500 if you've got teenagers, boys or girls, because of their growth. But as you get older, me certainly, I eat the same amount as I did when I was younger, but because my metabolism in my body slowed down, it means I'm carrying extra pounds. So I'm going to suggest that as you get older, you don't actually need as much food as you did when you were younger. And I know people are going to be saying, oh, you're going to be more active, etc, etc. Potentially, yes. I wouldn't say I'm the most active person in the world, but I go to work every day, so I'm not just sitting on the sofa watching Netflix. So that's the breakfast sort of things covered. Lunch-wise, you may or may not have access to bread. As I say, this is emergency, keep it simple. What can we do to substitute bread? Yes, you can make your own, but it takes up a fair bit of time. I'm looking about emergency food that's relatively easy to prepare. And for a bread substitute, oatcakes. These are quite good. Again, it's slow release carbohydrates. There's 6 oatcakes in each packet within the box. So you haven't got to open it and then worry that it's going to go off. You can just take one packet out and there's 6 there. And that is very filling. Can be a little bit dry on the palate because it's a bit like chewing cardboard. But there are some spread cheeses, of which I can't remember the manufacturer's name, that don't require refrigeration. So you could add some spread cheese to something like an oatcake. You've also got the cream crackers. These are fine, however these don't seem to last. I find that once these go past their best before date, the taste of it drops off dramatically. But it's another option. Crackers, oatcakes. What are we going to add on it? Well, if you like chocolate, and again, you would normally have a jar. Nutella, chocolate spread on your oatcake or your cracker. Marmite, again, these are individual portions. You'd probably have a jar, which is a yeast extract, Vegemite, Marmite, I don't know what you call it in the States. It's a love or hate thing, I quite like it. So there's a couple of options, and of course you've got peanut butter, which is somewhere. Very fatty, high in protein, loads of calories, but again, you could put some peanut butter on your oatcakes or your crackers, and that's pretty much your lunch sorted. So you've got your basis and then a number of spreads that you can add to it. Another thing that they do, which I've touched on before, is a nourishment drink. It is milk based. They last a couple of years. There's 400 calories, so it's pretty much a meal replacement in a tin, and it has got every vitamin that you require is in here. They're tasty. This one is vanilla. They do strawberry, banana, chocolate. But again, something like this for lunch, they are quite filling. If you have too many banana ones, or it does work with me, if I have too many banana ones, it makes my pee go yellow, so just bear that in mind. Of course, if you haven't got access to fresh fruit and vegetables, then you might consider, or you really should be, stocking up on multivitamin tablets. This is a one a day. If you've got teenagers or youngsters who are forever hungry and want to raid your cupboard, you've got to be a little bit careful, because if you're actually using these items, it's because things have gone peaked on. Just a little bit of a cheat, something like the super noodles. I think it's about 400 calories. There isn't a lot of nutrition in it, but it fills a hole. So if you've got a teenager that's always chomping, perhaps give them one of these, yeah, just to fill their belly. Or of course you've got the pot noodles again. Not very nutritional, but it will fill a hole. Then we're going to come over to perhaps a main meal, and for something like that, you've got your tinned meals as such. This one's a chicken casserole. You can bulk it out by adding a tin of vegetables. It's not as good as fresh, but it's better than a poke in the eye. And you're bulking that out. You can, of course, make some mashed potato up to add to that, because the casserole's already in gravy, and again, it's a little bit more in your belly and it bulks it all out. Another consideration would be something like pasta. There is rice, of course, but that takes longer to prepare and cook. So whilst I'm not going to say don't have any, I'm just trying to keep this video on simple things that are relatively easy and quick to prepare. So you can do a cup of pasta per person. It's actually this is one of my favourite meals, with pasta, and then there is chicken in a white sauce. The idea is, with this tin, as you can see on the label, it's a filling for if you're making a chicken pie. I find that this, with this, is a great meal because of the sauce in here, the pasta, you know, it gives the pasta some extra taste, and there's some big chunks of chicken in there. So that's just an idea as a meal. You've got to look at various different options so that you've got a multi-menu, if that makes sense, so people aren't going to get bored with it. For dessert, tinned fruit is probably the best I can come up with. You've also got things like rice pudding, yeah, and custard. They're fine, they work, but at least with the fruit, you know that you're getting, and this says that it is one a day. So it's worth having tinned fruit. Another possibility for lunch or a light dinner is couscous. So easy to prepare. You just pour in some hot water, hasn't even got to be boiling, leave it for a few minutes to absorb the water. They do various different flavours. If you pick them up in the supermarkets when they're on special offer, you got a bargain. Or you can just buy the larger bags of plain couscous and then add flavourings yourself. But I find a tin of couscous a packet of couscous with a tin of tuna together is actually a very tasty and filling meal. So that's pretty much it from the food side of things. I just want to get you to start thinking that you've got no electricity, you've got no refrigeration. So if you don't eat a lot of tinned food, if your normal diet is relatively fresh food that's in the fridge and in the freezer, then once that's gone, it's gone, because you're going to have the problems actually keeping it storage-wise, stopping it going off. So you need to look at alternatives that will sort of fill the slots. I hope this has given you food for thought, pardon the pun, and if you've got any suggestions, stick them in the comments. And of course, if you like the content, give us one of them and consider subscribing. Now we'll move on to the rucksack cover. Rucksack cover. Now, why would you want a camo rucksack cover? Well, it could be that you want something to actually camouflage your bag if you're in a bug out situation, potentially a get home situation, or even just a bit of stealth camping. Now, everyone will say that for your bug out kits, go bags, etc., you want a nondescript bag so it doesn't draw attention to yourself. So you might not want to walk around with a camouflaged rucksack to start with. However, there will be, or may be, occasions when you need to camouflage your kit. In, say, a wilderness situation, you've gone into some woods, and you might even be in, I don't know, in some bushes on a roundabout, getting your nut down for a night whilst you're making your way home due to some sort of drama. This camo was bought on Amazon. It is extremely cheap. I bought a massive, great big length of it for not a lot of money. I can't remember the exact cost, but it wasn't expensive. There's loads of them on Amazon, and I done it because I wanted to make a cover for a DPM poncho, just so it breaks up the shape a little bit, and also for a DD tarp. And there's enough left over to make a cover. You can of course buy a smaller quantity if it's just a cover that you want to. It is a little bit on the bright side, some of the colours, some of the browns and the greens. However, if that isn't matching your environment too much, the opposite side, the reverse of it, is a matte green colour. So for instance, here's an off-cut of it. So it's quite bright there, or it could be quite bright, but the reverse side of it is much more muted in colour. So you make this and then you can just turn it over to try and match the environment that you're in. It's extremely lightweight. It is not military spec. So just bear that in mind. It's pretty robust. Again, it probably won't last as long as military spec camo, but if you want it just for a bit of stealth camping, or to make your grey or your black bag blend in a little bit more, if you then go into a woodland environment, then it's perfect for that use. All you need to do is buy the camo. Then some shock cord. This is a 3mm shock cord in black. I think it was 20 metres of the stuff that I bought because I was repairing some, what they call, the rods in tents, yeah, I can't remember the name. But I was repairing those where the shock cord had actually rotted down. And I got 20 metres of this 3mm shock cord for about £8 delivered on Amazon. But all you need to do, oh, and I put a bead on there, which to be fair, coats and things like that, especially when they're no longer used, or rucksacks, I always take the fittings off. So it's just a little line cord there, or a little lock cord to tighten it up. But literally all I've done with it is I laid the rucksack on its back, I took the netting, laid it over, cut round it, make sure your rucksack is packed. If you haven't got anything in it, I don't know, stick a sleeping bag in it or something, just to bulk it out a bit so you get the right size. Laid the camo netting over the top, a pair of scissors, cut it out. You'll see the way it's easier to show you with this. You can see the way it's made. It's just one sheet and then they sort of make curved cuts in it. So once you've got it, because you've got these holes, you literally just thread the shock cord between it. And that's what you'll end up finishing with. And this is next to nothing in weight. And as I say, you can fit it with the matte side, or as you originally saw it, with the more coloured side. But again, you need to look at where you are. Yeah, if it's sort of winter time, this is probably a little bit too bright for it, whereas that side of it will blend in more. And because you've got a shock cord on there, is literally you just drape it over, and then pull the shock cord tight to cinch it down, and the cover's on. You might want to put a clip that to a grab handle, just in case it gets snagged on some bushes or tree branches and get pulled off. But that's it. It is a very quick and easy mod to do, and as I say, especially if your normal rucksack is perhaps say grey or black or even navy blue, something like that, you can scrunch this up, put it in your bag, and if you go into a woodland environment or you're out in the sticks more, you can put the cover on and it breaks up the shape and obviously makes it harder to see. That's it. Short and sweet, hopefully. Have a great weekend. See you soon.